Good morning, future Canadians. Today I'm going to take you on a wee drive around my local area. We're going to go around Ancaster, Ancaster Meadowlands and Dundas. We're not going to go on the hot road because it's too noisy. We're going to go in the truck because it's not noisy and it's comfortable. See you in there. So we live in Ancaster Meadowlands, which is kind of the newer area of Ancaster. The older area is at the other side of a golf course, but I'll show you that later. This side is getting established, you can see that by the trees, but there's an even newer area to Ancaster Meadowlands that I'll show you. That you'll see the houses are nice, but there's virtually no trees yet. There's also a lot of roundabouts in Meadowlands. Excuse me. Probably the most roundabouts you'll see in anywhere in Ontario, to be honest. And not everyone knows how to use them, but I'll talk about that in a different video. How to drive in Canada video, that'll be interesting. All these houses on the right are brand new, but they're kind of massive. Probably not what you're looking for at the moment. But they're not the most massive. I'll show you the more massive later on. Roundabout number 2. These houses on the right are called townhouses, and it's similar to what we live in. They're all connected, which makes them a little bit cheaper. You do pay a wee bit more for a detached house here. Well, it's the same anywhere, but you don't necessarily need a detached house, as we found out. We live in a townhouse and it's absolutely fine. You can always get the big country detached house later in life. There's no rush. When we first came to Canada, the houses stopped here. There was nothing beyond this point. So everything you see at this point forward has been built in the last 7 years. Whole area sprung up, but it's still called Ancaster, and it's still called Meadowlands. Oh, I think this specific area is called Tiffany Hills or something. I don't know why it's called Tiffany Hills. There's no hill in sight. But what I was saying earlier, there are trees, but they've only been planted in the last couple of years, so they're not exactly big. But this street will be nice in a few years. And it's still spring, so there's no leaves in the trees yet. So we're approaching a brand new school. I think this is an elementary school. I don't think it's a high school. So primary school as opposed to secondary school. And of course I've hit it right at the time all the kids are getting into school, so we're going to have to wait for the traffic and wait for the school buses. But hey, that's all part of being Canadian. I think this guy's just stopped there. Yes, he has. Yeah, Tiffany Hills Elementary School. As I say, brand new school. And all the little wardens stopping people from parking outside, just like you see in the movies. It's very cool. Love it. So obviously that school was built specifically for all these new houses and families that moved in. And just because I'm a glutton for punishment, I'm going to go all the way around this roundabout and back because I want to show you the nearby shopping facilities. But you can see straight ahead, they're still building brand new houses. This was a bad time to go on a little cruise around my area. So all these houses that we're passing are roughly 2,500 to 3,000 square feet, which is way more than you need, really. You'll find that when you come over, that people are just used to having more space. We were shocked because we came from a little semi-detached in Scotland with, it was kind of a 2-bedroom with box room. And we had 2 boys, and one of the boys had to live in the box room. It was just ridiculous. And then you move over here and you've got all this wasted space, as we used to call it. It's crazy how quickly you get used to having all that wasted space. So even a small house here is going to feel relatively big. Okay, I am going to now head to all the local shopping facilities. Now you could walk to the shops, but generally when you go to the shops you're going to buy stuff, and you know, you probably want a car. But you can walk if you're just going round for a coffee or a couple of small things. Talking about a good 10-minute walk from this area to get to the shops. So again, this area is not quite as established as my area, but the trees are a fair bit bigger than where we just were. And it will be a very nice street one day. Yes, roundabouts are weird here because they put the crossing right at the entrance and exit to roundabouts. It's very dangerous for pedestrians. But as I said before, I'm going to do a full video on driving in Canada because it's quite different. Remember to always stop at these stop signs. Absolutely no rush at all when you're in this sort of area. Lots of kids, lots of elderly people. Just chill, take it easy. So we're now approaching the main shopping area of Ancaster Meadowlands. On the right, that building with the red bar across the top is Shoppers Drug Mart, and that is where you buy all your, it's kind of like Boots. So you've got all your pharmacy type stuff, your medicines, and then you've got all the beauty products. They even sell food. I think that one might even be open to 10 o'clock at night, so that's pretty handy if you desperately need some drugs, you know. Straight ahead on the right hand side, you can't see it from there, we've got McDonald's, Buffalo Wild Wings, Dollarama, a new place that I can't make out, Sleep Country to buy your beds. On the left you've got Sobeys, which used to be 24 hours but it changed during the pandemic, so I'm not sure if it's going to be 24 hours again. It's a really nice shop, but it's a wee bit pricey. Not as pricey as for Tino's though. Okay, going straight ahead then. Up at the back of this area is more larger retail shops, clothes shops, home style type shops, pet stores, all that kind of stuff. So, oh, also up on the right hand side you'll see Best Buy. That's kind of like Curry's and Dixon's. Buy your big TV. Straight ahead, Home Sense, Marshall's, Designer Shoe Warehouse, and Another sort of furniture store called Bad Boy. Don't ever go there, they're really bad. Obviously, straight ahead there you've got Home Depot, which is like B&Q. And then next to Home Depot you have Costco, which is extremely popular in this area. In fact, people come from miles around for Costco. It's awesome. It's very expensive though. Well, it's not expensive, it just turns out expensive because you end up filling your trolley. So we try not to go there very often. They do have their own fuel pumps, their own gas bar, you would call it. And the petrol prices there are generally much cheaper than everywhere else, which is another good reason to get a Costco membership. So this whole side of Meadowlands is shops, retail, food shops, post office. Everything is over this side of that road that we crossed over. And they're always building new stuff. This place on the right, Tepperman's, is another furniture appliance type store. They're brand new. On the left we've got a clothes shop. On the right now we've got the post office. And my dog's vet. And Scotiabank, which is our bank. Love it. So I am now going to head over to Old Ancaster. Don't worry, you're allowed to turn right on a red light. Something else you'll get used to. More shops on the right. Toy store, another pet store, Sephora, whatever they sell, Lean and Fit Elite, whatever that is, Bath Depot, Party City, Reitman's, Healthy Planet, and Bell. Loads of stuff. Next block along, you have got Milestones Grill and Bar. Haven't been there yet, that's brand new. Across from that you get Kelsey's, which is another restaurant. Behind all of that you've got the Cineplex, which we've not been to in a while because, well, you know why. Oh, here's a new breakfast restaurant. They're opening new stuff all the time here. It's very, very exciting. LCBO, which is the only place you can buy spirits in Ontario. It's kind of, sounds a bit communist, but you can only buy your spirits and that kind of stuff at LCBO. There is like the beer store where you can get beer and you can buy wine in supermarkets, but not spirits. Okay, we are now crossing over the 403 highway. That's what that bridge was. And we're now heading into Old Ancaster. So separating Meadowlands and Old Ancaster is the highway, and there is a golf course that we're about to pass. So this is Golf Links Road, strangely enough, because it's right next to the golf course, which is coming up on the left. These houses are rather expensive. Certainly nothing we could afford. They are very nice, but way too much money, way too much space. Really don't need anything that huge. It would be nice, don't get me wrong. For me, I'd rather have more space on the outside to park all my cars. But hey, each to their own. So that street on the right hand side coming up goes in behind all these houses, and it's just full of nice big yummy houses that I can't afford. Kind of feels like we're in the middle of the countryside here, but we're really not. There's just lots of trees. You'll find that when you come over. It's a lot greener than you imagined it would be. It's not all igloos and polar bears. Well, not this time of year at least. So that's the golf course on the left. I think they hosted the PGA or some big golfing event last year or the year before. So it must be a good course, I guess. I don't know, I'm not into golf. A good walk spoiled, as they say. That road ahead is a dead end. They don't call them dead ends here, they call them just no exit. It's kind of weird. This final stretch of road takes us up to Old Ancaster. Old Ancaster main town is pretty small, to be honest. It's really pretty though. It's more what you would imagine old, you know, traditional Canada being like, or at least Canadian towns. So that little old building that we just passed, it's not actually an old building, it's a brand new building, but it's a house, what do you call it? I've forgotten now. I've forgotten what you call it. Someone that sells houses. Call them realtors here. Anyway, that's the place that we bought our first house, or in fact, our current house through. Estate agent. But they don't call them estate agents here. And they do like to throw up the odd pile of new houses, like in here. They just built them last year. Townhouses again, they're quite nice. Now, I'm going to turn right here and go to proper Old Ancaster. If you follow this road for about, probably about a mile, it takes you to Ancaster High, which is where my kids went. It's an okay school, it's nothing spectacular, it's fine. But this area is absolutely phenomenal for houses, they're absolutely gorgeous. Again, a wee bit on the pricey side, but picture perfect little houses. Well, huge houses, shall I say. We like to just drive around here on nice days and evenings and just, you know, fantasize about living in a mansion. Let's go up this road. Now, what you'll notice is there's a huge mixture of house styles here. You're going to have these sort of houses which are maybe 20 years old. On the other side, different styles because the houses here don't last that long. For example, that house straight ahead is brand new. They like to, and the houses on the right are brand new as well. They don't generally restore houses as much here. They like to just knock them down and build brand new mansions like that. For example, that house right there, that's a more traditional house, and one day if someone buys that, they will probably knock it down and build a mansion. It's just what they do here. But you can see what I mean about all the different styles. There's another mansion. Lots of mansions. Oh, building new mansions over there. You get the idea. And we're back to Lovers Lane. More mansions. So I'm going to show you the other half of Old Ancaster with the actual little shops and stuff. It's kind of nice. And in winter or Christmas they add the lights to everything and it looks really great. Oh, this house coming up on the right hand side, you might recognise that from films. They use that particular house in films a lot because it's very traditional looking. especially around Christmas. Hallmark movies at Christmas use that, and they put those big red ribbons all over it. It's lovely. So we're coming back into old Ancaster. They built these nice little posts on the side of the road with the village signs a couple of years ago. It's really nice. My wife's hairdresser's on the right hand side. Debon Hair. I think it's pronounced Debonair. Debonair, you know, English pronunciation. Lots of churches if you're into that sort of thing. Catholic and Protestant and all sorts of weird religions. Not my thing, but at least you've got a choice. So this is the old village itself. I think the police station's over there. It's kind of tiny. Might be that, not sure. But it's a pretty little town. I wouldn't call it a town. It's tiny, it's just a village. It used to be really important, apparently, many hundreds of years ago. Might even have been the capital of Ontario at one point, but they went for Toronto instead. Probably because it's next to the lake. There's a few little boutique-y type shops. There's a little strip mall type thing up there next to Tim Hortons. It's nice, and again, as I said before, it looks really nice in Christmas. Spend a lot of money on making things look nice here. Okay, we are now going to head to Dundas. Now, Dundas is kind of down the mountain from Ancaster. Now, I'm going to use the term mountain very loosely here. It's not a mountain, it's just the escarpment. It's just half of Hamilton is on top of the escarpment, so it's called Hamilton Mountain, and the other half, the downtown part of Hamilton, is at the lower half of the escarpment. I don't think that means it's Lower Mountain, I think it just means it's Hamilton. So you get Hamilton and Hamilton Mountain. Again, not a mountain. Right, I'll see you as we get closer to Dundas, which is about 3 miles away. So we're now at the bottom of that hill. If I turn right, it takes us into downtown Hamilton, but I'm going to turn left, which takes us to Dundas. Dundas is a wee bit like Ancaster in that it's split in half, with the old and the new. Well, old and not as old, shall we say. There's not so much new builds in Dundas as there is in Ancaster. You'll see that when we get to it. So when we go up this hill, there's a big shopping area on the left. Obviously not as big as the one in Netherlands because it's massive, but still plenty there. There's food stores, garages, Canadian Tire, that kind of stuff. Another Shoppers Drug Mart. Oh, little hot rod over there. Probably know that guy. So that's all the stuff on the left I was talking about. Bulk Barn. Bulk Barn's awesome. I'll talk about that in a later video. And then you've got this divide here. There's some houses. This is actually Dundas, but I'm going to take you right into the heart of Dundas because it's another nice little town. It's quite different from Ancaster. It looks more British, which we didn't actually like at first when we first came. A lot of red brick, and we were just hating on everything British at the time. But now that we've been here a wee while, we kind of like it. So I will take you to some of the various house styles in Dundas. They're not quite so modern and new builds like I showed you in Ancaster. They're nice though. So you can probably see we are pretty much at the bottom of a valley in Dundas. We've come down all the way from Ancaster Mountain, Hamilton Mountain, and you can see a hill up in the distance. That's the escarpment I was talking about. Just in case you're wondering why I'm not turning right on a red, there's a big sign up there that says no right turn on red between 9 AM and 9 PM. Always an exception to the rule you need to watch out for. This is kind of the outskirts of the town. You can see the older style houses. They're not very pretty, these ones. Apartment blocks, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to turn left at the bottom of this road and I'll take you right up the centre of Dundas, which is a fair bit bigger than Ancaster town, and lots of very nice little shops. Welcome to downtown Dundas. So what do we have? Animal hospital, petrol station, barber shop on the left, another petrol station, used car sales, McDonald's, all the main food groups, little hobby shop there. And this is coming into the main shopping area of downtown Dundas. Now they do close this road off quite a lot during summer for all sorts of festivals. Just a section of the road, so there will be detours a lot of the time. They do all sorts. Because it's a slope, they might also do, like, you know, those little kiddie go-kart races and all that kind of stuff that requires a bit of gravity going down a hill. But yeah, if you're thinking of moving to Dundas, be prepared for festivals and detours. Some fairly ugly apartments up there. I'm sure they're fine on the inside, but they don't look very nice, especially in the dull weather. But beyond that, you move into the more traditional styles of houses and buildings in Dundas. You get the idea. Old boutique-y shops. Potter's Guild Show, whatever that is. But I did say there was a lot. Do you want to get on your own side of the road, Mrs.? Goodness. So I'm going to go a bit further up and I'll show you what the houses are like near the town centre in Dundas. As I say, they're a bit older, but they're still quite nice. And you're close to a lot of shops, although not very big shops. But of course, always a Shoppers Drug Mart everywhere you go. It's kind of like Tim Hortons here. Nice little town. So I think we will turn right at the next traffic lights. I'll show you what the housing looks like in this sort of area. Lots of facilities in Dundas for families, kids, close to nature walks and waterfalls and all sorts. Definitely more of an outdoory type place than Ancaster is. Much smaller roads as well. But you can see what I mean about the older style houses. Not so many tear downs here. I think they're more determined to keep the look traditional around here. I do like it. Not quite as expensive as Ancaster either. Oh, actually, while I'm here, I'm going to try and show you the Dundas driving park. I know that sounds strange. It'll make sense when we get there, if I can find it. Oh, look at that cute wee house. Where's the driving park? It's down this way. No, I'm lost. I'll bring you back when I'm not lost. Okay, I'm found again. We're just round the corner from the Dundas driving park. It'll make sense when we get there, trust me. Okay, so what is a driving park? Well, it's a park that you can drive around, but there's more to it than that. First thing you need to make sure you do is go very slowly, because there's lots of children here, or there will be in summer when they're not at school. Now that 25 is 25 kilometers an hour. Okay, so we're talking 20 miles an hour max, but you know what, there's no rush. Now, the whole point of the driving park is that you can bring your whole family to the park in your car. Oh damn, there's a slow moving squirrel in front of me. Out of the way, you dafty. Another squirrel. Kamikaze squirrels. Bet he was done for speeding. So I'm saying, you got to be really slow in these parks. Now, getting back to my point, you see these little sort of shelters? Well, you can book these little shelters, and each one has got facilities for cooking. You can see the benches, it's got kitchens, it's got barbecues, and you rent one of these little shelters for parties and all that kind of stuff for your kids to enjoy outside. Not everyone's got a massive house that they can invite 100 kids to, and that is the purpose of this driving park. There's all sorts of things. You've got tennis, there's a baseball diamond, I think they're called, and tons of parking. But as I say, you have to drive slowly here or the cops will arrest you like they did to that guy back there, and it serves them right. So fantastic idea, lots of facilities, loads of tennis courts there. What's that over there? I can see more stuff. Football fields, running, everything you like. And it doesn't cost a fortune either. Our friends, we've got Scottish friends that live in Dundas, and they rented one out for an afternoon, and it was just so good. You just bring all your own You bring your own food, but as I say, the barbecue is there. It's a kind of permanent barn. Permanent barbecues that are set up. You obviously have to bring your own coals and all that kind of stuff, and there's toilets and phenomenal idea. Really great. So that's the driving park. Still driving it. I'm actually driving at 20 kilometers an hour. I don't want to risk a ticket, you know. Speed bumps, you just got to chill. And this place will be really busy in summer, but that's okay. I mean, you want your kids to mix with other kids and make friends. It's perfect. Okay, where do we go next? I'm going to take you to a more modern area of Dundas. When I say more modern, I mean more modern housing. Because you might not be into the older style houses. Older houses are a little bit cheaper and generally require more work. Whereas obviously newer houses, you don't have to worry about things like, you know, the electrical system and water lines, all that kind of stuff. So I'll show you some newer houses. And of course, with the newer houses, there is going to be a large school. They like to build the schools within walking distance, if possible, of the houses. Which makes sense. I always walk to school in Scotland. Not everyone has to get dropped off in a minivan to go to school every day. So we're on Governor's Road, if you're Google mapping this, heading west. So it is still Dundas, but it's a bit further away from the main town. So you're not going to have a lot of shopping up this way, other than the odd strip mall. There is quite a few condos here, apartment blocks, but they're okay. They're fairly modern. Except that one on the right, that looks a bit old. And then you just move into houses. Actually, there's a whole complex of small townhouses there. They're probably pretty affordable, but might not be your thing. Bearing in mind, a house is somewhere that you've got to love, or you'll be depressed every time you go home, let's face it. Glad to say they've resurfaced this road. This used to be one of the worst roads in the area, but they've totally resurfaced it. You probably tell straight away the difference in this area. It just feels more modern already, probably because the road's new. So there's a lot of houses up this area. But you'll see what I mean, these are not exactly new houses, but they're newer than what we were just looking at. Very nice. Very nice established area without it being too ancient looking. think if we were moving again, we'd probably move to an area like this. It's just nice, and the houses are set quite far back from the road, so it just makes it all feel nice and bright. And I also like roads that have got curves. Straight roads get a bit kind of pie cuttery, you know, with the houses all looking the same and the streets all looking the same. But what you will notice here, there's no pavement or sidewalk. You have to be pretty careful, especially at night if you're walking about in this sort of area, because obviously there's cars on the road, so you got to be careful. There's also not a huge amount of street lighting. In general, I've noticed in Canada, there's generally only street lights on one side of the road. And let's face it, they're not lighting up a pavement, so I'm not quite sure the purpose of them anyway. But this is a really nice road with its twists left and right and up and down hills. Really nice street. In fact, I think my Scottish friends have actually moved into this street fairly recently. But because of the pandemic, we've not been to see it yet. Very nice road. And I do believe that this road will bring us out at the newish high school for Dundas. So as I say, you could, if you've got kids at school age, they can just walk to school. These are little semi-detached. No, they're not. These are interesting little houses. They're pretty small actually. Well, when I say small, remember what I was saying earlier, even small houses here are fairly big. But generally if it's a single garage, it's a much smaller house. Now on the left is the school I was talking about. Don't know if you can see that, but that's a fairly large. Oh, it's actually an elementary school. I thought it was a high school, but that's the elementary school. I think the high school might be on the right hand side. Yes, judging by the school buses, I'm going to say that the secondary school or high school is on the right. There. Yes. So that will be, what does it say? Dundas Valley Secondary School. So you've got the secondary school right next to the elementary school. Fantastic. So you wouldn't have to move house if you lived behind that area. Your kids can walk to primary school and then walk to secondary school. Perfect. Right. Where should we go next? Oh, I know what. We'll go home. That's a good idea because this video is long enough. I will see you in a couple of minutes. Home sweet home. Hopefully that gave you a bit of a feel for the areas that I live. Well, area that I live plus the area that I'm close to. Anyway, that's Ancaster, Ancaster Meadowlands and Dundas. If you want more in-depth type videos, let me know. I will be doing some buying house specific videos and some buying and using cars specific videos. Driving, I think I'll be doing the driving video next, because driving in Canada is quite different from driving in the UK, and it's good to be prepared before you get here. Right, thanks for watching everyone, hope that helped. Bye for now.